In one of the cities, monsters had overrun the world, slaughtering anyone in their path, but there was one person who stood against them with unmatched bravery. Haru the legend, the strongest spirit summoner and the greatest hero the world had ever known. He saved people from those savage beasts and even rescued a group of children. As the days passed, his fame and awe grew until the entire kingdom, no, the entire world, began to fear his power. The kingdom started to treat him with utmost caution, which angered the kings. Envy took root in their hearts, and they plotted to eliminate him. They used one of his students to drug him. At that moment, Haru lay on the ground, overwhelmed with regret because those he trusted had betrayed him. He whispered to himself, "If by some miracle I could be transported to another world, I would never let anyone deceive me again." He cast a spell, hoping it would take him to a new world, and indeed the spell worked. Haru was reborn. Under a new name, Seika was born into a wealthy family. He had two brothers, Gray and Sophie. Don't confuse him with software, my friend. This is a serious tale. At the moment of his birth, his father tested whether the child had any magical energy, but he found nothing, prompting Gray to mock him, saying, "A worthless, useless child." But in truth, Seika didn't possess magical energy. He possessed a spiritual power so overwhelming, none could match it. No one knew this, not even his father. The days went by, and Seika grew until he was 3 years old. One day, while walking in the palace garden, Seika began tearing some leaves and using his power on them. Part of the leaves transformed into rats and the rest into crows. He was merely testing how this world worked. Suddenly, Gray approached him to mock and bully him. He hit Seika, but the crows unexpectedly attacked Gray, tearing at his head, while Seika remained untouched. Sophie heard his brother's screams and rushed over, stunned. Why didn't the crows attack Seika? Something's not right here. The years flew by and Seika turned 7. During this time, he devoted every moment to studying magic and understanding the laws of this world. He was also crafting tools called yashi, which would allow him to access the powers from his previous life. One day, Eva knocked on his door and said, "I found your jacket in the middle of the forest." Seika immediately realized that Gray had thrown it there. Gray happened to pass by and started insulting Eva in front of Seika. Seika tried to defend her, but Gray retorted, "You're a failure with no magic. You waste your time doing nothing. I, on the other hand, will soon join the Magic Academy, so you'd better show me some respect." Upon hearing Magic Academy, Seika's eyes lit up. He made up his mind to enter that academy. At that same moment, their father had decided to teach Gray and Sophie how to perform magical archery. As they were preparing to leave, Seika called out to his father, "Can I come and watch the training?" The father was surprised but eventually agreed. The 4 of them arrived at the training grounds. Sophie stepped up first and cast a wind spell, a strong one that shattered the target. Then it was Gray's turn. He cast a fire spell, burning the target to ashes. Their father praised him. "Well done." Just as they were about to leave, Gray sneered at Seika and said, "Since he's here, let him try something. Let's have a little fun at his expense." Seika grew furious. Without waiting for permission, he snatched the wand from his father's hand and unleashed his spiritual energy, casting a blue flame no one had ever seen before. It completely obliterated the target. Everyone was stunned. Even Gray nearly fainted from shock. Seika then turned to his father and said, "I want to learn magic. I want to enroll in a magic school." But his father replied firmly, "Impossible. No one without magical energy has ever entered a magic school. Forget it." Seika calmly responded, "All right." But he didn't give up. He kept learning and observing in secret. One night, Seika began performing rituals to summon one of the creatures he had once made a pact with in his previous life. He successfully summoned the weakest among them, a girl named Yuki. The moment she saw him, she recognized her master and hugged him. Seika asked, puzzled, "Why are you so small? Is something wrong?" Yuki replied, "I don't know." Seika said, "Maybe it's the effect of this new world. Doesn't matter. As long as I could summon you, I can summon the others." Just before he could send her back, Yuki transformed into a small fox and said, "I'm tired of living there. Let me stay with you." Seika agreed. The next day, Gray was scolding Eva because she had spilled water on his clothes. Then he started harassing her, saying, "Come to my room tonight." Seika overheard and immediately intervened, pushing him away from her. Gray became enraged and struck him with all his might, but Seika effortlessly blocked the attack, humiliating Gray, who then stormed off. Eva thanked Seika and said, "I want to show you something in the garden." She led him to a small, dying creature. She wanted to help it but didn't know how. Seika said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it. Just turn away. I can't concentrate when someone's watching me." She closed her eyes and Sika summoned one of his yashi, which transferred into the animal and healed it completely. Eva called out to him, and when she saw what he had done, she was shocked. "Do you have healing magic too?" she asked. Sika replied, "Something like that. But tell me, since when have you been able to see spirits?" Eva froze, then asked, "How did you know?" Sika answered, "I've seen you more than once following the spirits with your eyes, but I suspect you can see more than that. What exactly do you see?" Realizing she could no longer hide the truth, Eva confessed, "Yes, I can see spirits, especially fairies. They were the ones who showed me where your jacket was in the forest." Seika was stunned. "And do they obey you?" he asked. She replied, "Only once, when I was washing clothes." Sika was intrigued. "I've always wanted someone by my side who could communicate with spirits. I never imagined I'd find them so quickly. You must stay with me," he said. Then he added, "I'll summon fire. Try to extinguish it using the spirits." Though she didn't fully understand, Eva agreed. Seika conjured flames and said, "Put it out." Eva tried, saying softly, "Please go out, pretty fire." But the flame remained. She tried again. Still nothing. Then she suddenly yelled, "Go out!" And the fire vanished instantly. Seika was overjoyed. He realized that Eva possessed the gift he had been searching for all along. From that day on, he began spending more time with her, teaching her how to use her powers. And slowly, Eva grew deeply attached to him. Days passed quickly. Ichika had grown and was now 13 years old. As usual, no one celebrated his birthday, for he was not a legitimate child, and everyone treated him strangely because of that. He returned to his room to study a few things, but on his way, he ran into his two brothers. As always, Gray began to bother him. Suddenly, two servants burst in, panic-stricken, shouting, "A giant beast attacked the city just moments ago. Your father was there and tried to fend it off using fire magic. He managed to push it back, but unfortunately, the beast is now heading toward the palace. We must escape at once." The boys were all terrified. As soon as the beast's roar was heard, Gray screamed and ran to hide. Soft, who was also worried, instructed everyone to take shelter and avoid confrontation. But when he looked beside him, he didn't find Sika. He had already dashed out to face the beast. Outside, Eva and one of the maids were cornered by the monster. Sika saw them and rushed to their aid. But Eva acted quickly, casting fire magic to keep the beast at bay, then grabbed the other maid and ran away. Sika watched the scene with admiration, then shouted toward the beast, "Come to me, you brute!" He lured it toward the center of the palace as everyone watched in shock. The beast was chasing him, and most believed he wouldn't survive. Soft was screaming, convinced that Sika would meet his end. But my friend, that was far from what happened. Sika unleashed a powerful fire spell infused with poison, striking the monster down in a single blow. The beast collapsed, defeated, and everyone stood in stunned silence. No one could believe how Sika had defeated such a creature so swiftly. Even Eva was impressed by what he did and delighted by it. The crowd began chanting Sika's name in joy, and thus began the real excitement of the story. At that moment, Sika's father returned home. He had witnessed his son slay the giant beast single-handedly. In honor of his great feat, he held a banquet and said to him, "You've done something no boy your age has ever accomplished. You deserve a reward. Tell me, what do you desire?" Sika thanked him and replied, "If you're offering me a reward, I have a simple request. I have served this family as a mage and protected the palace and everyone within it. But if no one knows your strength, your influence remains limited. Please allow me to join the Magic Academy so that I may serve the entire Republic." His father was moved and replied, "Very well. You have my permission." Sika then added, "I have one more request." The father asked, "What is it?" Sika said, "Please allow Eva to accompany me to the academy as my attendant." His father objected, "But she has no magical powers. They won't accept her there." Sika responded, "Don't say that. Let her prove herself." He then called Eva over, took her to the balcony and said, "If you truly wish to come with me, you must show them legendary fire magic, or else I'll leave you here." Eva was afraid, realizing he might abandon her. She gathered all her strength and cast an enormous fire spell that stunned everyone. Even Sika was impressed. He turned to his father and asked, "What do you think now?" The father replied, "Very well, she may go." Suddenly Gray stood up and shouted, "How can you allow this boy and his maid to join the academy? You know our family is only allowed to send one son. I won't let him go with me." The father replied, "Who said you're going? You'll be joining the army. You will not become a mage. I've been watching you all for years. Unlike Sika, you only pursued swordsmanship. You never once tried to learn magic." Gray erupted in anger, yelling at the top of his lungs, "I won't let you take everything from me. I challenge you. If I win, I'll reclaim what's mine." But if I lose, I won't speak another word. Yet you mustn't take that girl with you, and you will never return to this house." Sika agreed, and the father declared, "Your duel will be tomorrow, in front of everyone. The victor will set the terms." Gray shouted, "Agreed!" Each returned to his room. Sika began preparing his gear for the following day, when Soft entered and said, "I know I'm late, but happy birthday, Sika. I brought you a gift. I hope you like it." Sika was overjoyed. It was the first time anyone in his family had given him a present. Soft added, "I always kept my distance because I didn't know how to approach you, but when I heard you might leave for the academy, I decided to give you this pen. You might need it there." Sika was deeply touched and thanked him. Soft then said, "I have one more request. Please go easy on Gray. He's impulsive, but he's a good-hearted person." Sika replied, "All right." Soft left, and Sika sat in his room preparing for what was to come. Suddenly, the window flew open, and Gray stood outside below it yelling, "If you're a real man, come face me now." Sika climbed down and said, "Can't you wait until tomorrow?" Gray retorted, "Exactly. I'll crush you now, and father will think you back down out of fear." Gray gathered his power and struck Sika with a massive fire spell, laughing, "Burn in my flames!" But to his shock, Sika stood without a scratch. "You could have made it stronger," Sika said calmly. "That was too weak." Gray panicked and tried using wind magic, but Sika shielded himself and said, "Let me know when you're done." Gray kept attacking in vain. Finally, Sika said, "All right, time for the real fight." Sika activated a combat device that spread across his arm and began striking Gray fiercely. Gray screamed in pain. Sika reassured him, "Don't worry, I won't break your arm," but the beating intensified until Gray lost consciousness from the pain. Yuki emerged and asked, "Why didn't you finish him off after showing your power?" Sika answered, "I promised Soft I wouldn't." Then he carried Gray inside. "But tell me, do you really think all of this was a coincidence?" "No, my friend." Sika had once gone into the forest and searched for nearby monsters. He discovered that the red beast lived near the mountain. He summoned one of his creatures and instructed it, "Go to that mountain and keep an eye on the beast there." He knew his father would be away from the city, and the beast would head toward the palace, where Sika would slay it in front of everyone. He had planned everything to be accepted into the Magic Academy, after his father had previously refused. 6 months later, the time came for him to enroll. He bid farewell to his older brother and climbed into the carriage, though unfortunately, he still suffered from motion sickness during travel. Back at home, his father kept an eye on the time. Knowing that Sika was nearing the capital, he recalled what had happened 12 years earlier, when a woman had come to him with a child, saying, "This is your brother's son." He didn't ask questions. He simply took the boy in and allowed him to live, hoping he would inherit or even surpass his brother's power. That was why he agreed to send him to the Magic Academy, hoping that Sika would grow to love it there and become a national hero. At that moment, Sika and Eva had finally reached their new home. Exhaustion was clear on their faces. Sika said to Eva, "Rest well. Tomorrow we'll submit our academy applications." And so, they rested that day. The next day, they began preparing to head to the academy. Upon arriving at the registration area, they encountered a red-haired girl named Mira. Sika felt a strange familiarity with her, as though she resembled a student he had once known in a past life. He felt something unusual toward her, but made no further comment. Then, the entrance exams for the Magic Academy began. First, there was a written test, followed by a magical power test. Reinforced targets surrounded by a layer of specific magical elements were placed, and the students had to use their powers to break these barriers. The children began showcasing their skills, each possessing a single magical element. Then came Eva's turn. She stepped toward the fire plate. Boom! She ignited it with her legendary magic, stunning everyone. She then asked the examiner to proceed to the next target and continued destroying them with her wind magic. Sika had never known she possessed wind magic, and he was thrilled to see her displaying her intelligence and talent. Then came his turn. He stood before the firestone and shattered it. He moved to the second target, destroyed. Then the third, obliterated. Someone suddenly shouted, "Enough, my friend. Is this a novel or what?" Everyone was stunned by his power, realizing he was no ordinary boy. Even Eva was overjoyed, and both of them were at the height of happiness. After some time, the results were posted. Both Sika and Eva had passed. However, Eva ranked higher. Someone joked, "Lucky you, Sika, what a twist of fate." But the real surprise was that Mira, the red-haired girl they first met, ranked first overall. A celebration was held at the academy in honor of their success, and students began gathering in the hall. On the way, Sika sensed something strange in the forest. He went to investigate and discovered a massive magic circle. He sent a few of his agents to keep watch over the place, then quickly returned to the hall. At that moment, the food was served. Seika began eating quickly and told Eva, "Hurry, eat before the battle starts." Eva, confused, asked, "What do you mean?" Meanwhile, Mira took the stage to motivate the students as the top-ranked candidate. She spoke with courage and offered them advice. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and demonic beasts stormed into the hall. The students tried to flee or fight back, but it was hopeless. Mira, however, stood firm. She launched herself into the air and began striking the monsters from above. Seika noticed a powerful demon near the magic circle he had seen earlier. He decided to go eliminate it. Eva asked, "Where are you going?" He answered, "Somewhere. I'll be back quickly. Stay with Mira, and if things get dangerous, run." Then he left. Seika arrived at the demon's location and mockingly sang to it, "Either your luck's twisted, or your luck's twisted. There's no other way. You know I won't show mercy, don't you?" The demon replied, "You came alone? You must be a fool to think you can defeat me." Seika responded, "We'll see who the real fool is." The demon launched iron weapons at him, but Seika deflected them with ease. Enraged, the demon summoned 3 of his followers. They attacked with full force. Seika killed 2 and grabbed the third, saying, "This one's a souvenir. I'll keep him." The demon, now furious, shouted, "I'll fight you with my full power." Seika replied calmly, "All right." He struck with everything he had, but couldn't land a blow. The demon celebrated his perceived victory, drawing a sword and slashing Seika across the face. Seika couldn't dodge in time, and his arm was severed. Blood poured from his body. He asked, "Tell me, why are you doing this? What's your goal in attacking the academy?" The demon responded, "As a show of courage, I'll tell you. We were sent to kill the heroine, a girl with short red hair and unnatural strength." He was referring to Mira. Seika asked, "How did you know she was the heroine?" The demon replied, "Orders from the Supreme Commander. They are to be carried out without delay." Seika simply said, "All right." Then, both launched at each other with full force. The demon managed to knock Seika down. As he moved to kill Mira, he was stunned to hear Seika behind him. "Where do you think you're going? We're not finished yet." The demon turned, hurled another knife at him and said, "You act as if you cannot die." Seika replied, "All your effort has gone to waste. Let me explain. I transfer any damage I receive to one of my subordinates. Don't worry, he'll be the one to destroy you now." The demon, outraged, roared, "Humans who don't know their place, you must die now!" He lunged at Seika with everything he had, but Seika dodged and struck him with a spell that nearly drowned him. The demon teleported behind Seika, but Seika anticipated it and unleashed an electric beast at him. Still, the demon refused to give up and plunged his hand into Seika's abdomen. Everyone thought it was over, but Seika remained standing and said, "All this effort for nothing." The demon, sensing he was cornered, said, "If that's the case, I must end you before you run out of that paper you use." Seika replied, "Ah, you mean this? Unfortunately for you, it won't run out. But I think we've played enough. It's time to finish this." He summoned one of his followers, through whom he called forth a giant dragon. Upon seeing the dragon, the demon trembled. He knew his end had come. The dragon charged, boom, and devoured him. The demon tried to resist, but as Seika said, "You were empty from the start." And so, his end came. Seika returned to the academy to find that Mira had slain all the monsters. Eva was safe, as were the other students. But something strange happened. People began to fear Mira because she had killed all the beasts by herself. Their gazes toward her had changed. Seika felt he needed to help her and sensed that she would become the one hidden in his shadow. Later, the school year began. Seika and Eva were heading to their class. The next day, Seika saw Mira and tried to speak to her, but she completely ignored him and walked away. Shortly after, while they were walking, an object suddenly fell from above. But Seika calmly handled the situation. The teacher responsible apologized, claiming it was an accident, but Seika felt something suspicious and kept walking. In class, the academy announced a special exploration mission for the top 2 exam scorers to venture into the forest and retrieve certain items. Mira and Eva were selected, as they had the highest scores. Seika asked, "And what if Eva refuses to go?" The academy replied, "Then you will take her place." He said, "All right. I'll make sure she refuses. I'll go instead." He wanted this chance to get closer to Mira and strengthen his bond with her. The academy replied, "That behavior is unacceptable, Mr. Seika." He quickly answered, "Look, this mission is dangerous. I can't allow Eva to go alone." The academy agreed. Thus it was decided that Seika and Mira would go to the forest together. After class, Eva asked, "Could it be that you like Mira? She's beautiful, slim, and has soft hair." He answered, No, nothing like that. But I'm sure she'll be the strongest one day, and I want to help her and understand her better. Eva was overjoyed. She smiled and said, then take care of yourself. He smiled back and said, all right, and she was filled with happiness. The next day, both Sika and Mira were preparing to set off. They leapt into the forest with the aim of exploring it. As they wandered, they exchanged a few conversations of no particular significance, until they stumbled upon a strange tree carved with a magical circle. As soon as they approached it, the circle activated and began to tremble, and suddenly, massive lizards lunged at them with terrifying speed. But Mira fiercely countered the attack, smashing some of their heads and incinerating the rest. Suddenly, a giant ghoul ambushed her from behind and was about to kill her, had it not been for Sika, who intervened at the last moment and saved her. It seemed the girl was accustomed to such battles. They continued deeper into the tunnel, searching for any exit or clue. Sika lit the way using one of his yashi, distributing a few across the edges of the cavern in case other monsters approached, ensuring a quick escape route. They walked for some time until monsters began to sneak in from all sides. Mira attacked 3 of them with a swift blow and crushed them in an instant. But one monster, still alive, landed a powerful strike on her, knocking her unconscious. It prepared to kill her until Sika stepped in and confronted it along with all its kin. The situation grew more dangerous. The monsters were many, and Sika couldn't use his true power in front of them. So, taking advantage of Mira's unconsciousness, he summoned one of his stronger yashi. Suddenly, a colossal worm burst out from beneath the ground and crushed the monsters in seconds, its power drawn from its underground slumber. A short while later, Mira regained consciousness to find her body completely healed and the monsters gone. She was surprised by Sika's power and asked him about his secret, but he evaded the question, claiming it was due to special training within his family, though the truth was otherwise. There was no training. He simply didn't trust anyone in this world. After that, he gently asked her to tell him about herself. She lowered her gaze and began to speak. She said that since childhood, she had joined the guild on adventures. She loved fighting and killing, and felt no joy except during battle. She once entered a cave with a group of hunters, strong ones, but the monsters devoured half of them, and the rest were severely wounded. Everyone was terrified, except her. She said that in that moment, she felt pure happiness. And from that day, people began to avoid her. They feared being near her. She added, I know I'm not normal, but I'm trying to change, and maybe I can do that here, in this academy. Sika was deeply moved by her words, for he saw a part of himself in her. He said to her, don't worry about anything. You are completely normal. No, more than that. You're incredible. You were just born among cowards. The place where you truly belong. You haven't found it yet. So, stay strong. I'm with you. She was touched by his words and thanked him. Then they decided to continue through the cavern, fighting any creature that stood in their way, and they eliminated all the monsters. Eventually, they reached the floor boss, who had to be defeated in order to reach the exit. At first, Mira hesitated and was afraid to face it, but Sika encouraged her, saying, just go in. I'm with you. Don't worry. We'll take it down together. His words thrilled her, and she charged at the monster with fury. Sika launched the first attack quickly, but the monster was unaffected, spitting venom from its mouth. Mira's strikes also failed to make an impact. It was clear that this creature possessed tremendous strength. At that moment, Sika soared into the air and drove an iron pillar into the monster's mouth, then pressed it down hard to the ground. Mira attacked from the opposite side, unleashing intense flames. The pillar exploded, and the monster was nearly finished. Mira seized the opportunity and struck the final blow. The beast was defeated, and she ran towards Sika, overwhelmed with joy, hardly believing what she had done. She clearly had a passion for battle. Afterward, they took the unique sword of the cave, along with a ring, then found an exit and left the forest. Returning to the academy, they reported everything to the school, and then Sika left on his own. He headed toward the professor's place and said, "How are you, mister? You must be upset that Mira didn't die in the cave and is still alive." The professor was shocked and asked, "What do you mean, Sika?" Sika replied, "I always wondered how such a large magical circle could be drawn in the school's courtyard and go unnoticed. The truth is, you wanted to kill Mira using the monsters, or at least have her blood soaked in wounds after defeat. Either way, you would have won. Because of the demon blood, you cast a curse on her that causes a headache that grows until it kills her. Isn't that right?" The professor smiled coldly and responded, "You're clever. You figured it all out." "Yes, but now the girl will die from the curse, won't she?" Sika said. "Unfortunately, no. The one you cursed was the Yashi, not Mira. I removed the curse from her long ago. And more than that, this is the demon, and now his blood covers my body. Sika had killed the demon and let its blood flow over him, then activated one of his legendary techniques, the retrieval technique, power that reflects any curse or harm back onto the one who inflicted it, multiplied until death. The professor trembled in terror, realizing his end was near, and screamed, "Who are you?" But Sika did not answer, and within moments, the curse struck him, and he died instantly. The scene was utterly terrifying. On their way back, Yuki asked Sika, "How did you know the professor was behind it?" He replied, "One of the Yashi noticed a strange scent on his shoulder. It was the same scent found near the magical circle. So I made the connection." Then Sika went to Eva and gave her the ring he had found in the cave. She was thrilled with it and overjoyed. At that moment, Mira walked by. Sika called out to her, but, as usual, she ignored him and went to talk to Eva instead. It seemed she felt a little embarrassed, my friend. In any case, things returned to normal. The demons no longer attacked the kingdom, and the students advanced to their second year. During the celebration of the new school year, the vice principal entered the hall, where Sika and his friends were sitting, and said to him, "The headmistress wants to see you. Stand up and come with me." Sika hesitated for a moment, but decided to go and find out why. When he arrived, he found the headmistress of the academy, an elderly, short woman. He asked her directly, "Why did you summon me? And why are we even here?" She replied, "Look, I want you to participate in a magical tournament that will be held at a private school. Our academy has been granted the right to send 2 students, and I've chosen you, along with a girl named Mabel. By the way, she's a new student, but extremely powerful." Sika asked, "And what if I refuse to go?" She answered, "In that case, Ava will go in your place." He immediately responded, "Fine, I'll go." Then he left and told Mira everything that had happened. Mira was furious that she hadn't been chosen, and that Sika had been selected instead, believing herself stronger than him. Sika told her, "I was surprised too. I asked her why but didn't get a convincing answer. I feel like something's off." Then they finished their meal and left together. As Mira walked on, still burning with anger, she shouted aloud, "I want to participate." Mabel had been listening from behind. Suddenly she addressed her, "Do you know why you weren't chosen?" Mira asked, "Why?" Mabel replied coldly, "Because you're weak. That's all there is to it. If you had the strength you keep talking about, they would have chosen you long ago. But you're just a weak little girl." Rage ignited inside Mira from Mabel's words. She turned and said, "Very well, since that's what you think." In the background, 2 girls could be seen dueling with swords. Mira turned to Mabel, handed her a sword and said, "Take the sword. Let's find out which one of us is truly the weaker." Seka stepped in to act as the referee and declared the fight would begin. Mira launched a swift and aggressive assault, giving Mabel no chance to counterattack. But Mabel strengthened her weapon and struck back with brutal force, showing no mercy. Her skill was undeniable. She defeated Mira with ease. She threw the sword to the ground and said, "You lost too, because you're still weak." Then she walked away. In that moment, Mira was overwhelmed with sorrow and fell silent. Still, she chose to accompany the group to the capital, hoping to witness the duels and understand what she was lacking. The next day, everyone prepared themselves and boarded the carriage heading toward the capital. Upon arrival, Seka immediately checked the match schedule. He discovered his first match would be held the very next day. He also learned that if both he and Mabel continued to win all their rounds, they would face each other in the semi-finals, something that now seemed inevitable. He decided to deploy some secret scouts throughout the city to monitor for anything unusual. On the following day, Seka walked boldly into the arena, greeted by roaring cheers from the crowd and the commentator's voice. His opponent entered, a mercenary, or perhaps a common bandit, burning with hatred for the nobility. He sneered at Seka. "Don't worry, I'll finish you off quickly, little one." Seka smirked in return. "I'm not in the best mood today, and I'd like to get some sleep, so go ahead and finish it quickly so I can break you." Furious, the man charged with all his might. But in a sudden twist, Seka swapped places with one of his scouts, appearing behind the opponent, and in a single moment, "Safe travels!" Thus ended the first battle, with Seka victorious, leaving the audience in stunned disbelief. Seka then joined his friends to watch the next match. A new fighter entered the arena, a blue-haired boy who appeared to be a powerful water mage. But his opponent was Kyle, a member of the capital's merchant guild, with a sinister face resembling that of a serial killer. The duel began. As soon as the blue-haired mage raised his hand to attack, his body froze entirely. Kyle walked toward him with calm confidence, approached, and killed him instantly. What cruelty! The match ended in moments. Kyle had claimed another victory. Seka stood observing, trying to comprehend what had just happened. He soon learned that Kyle communed with spirits and possessed the Eye of Evil, an eye capable of paralyzing opponents. It became clear Seka was destined to face a terrifying opponent in the future. After his first victory, Seka returned to the arena for his next match. His opponent? A girl who had prepared an anti-magic device specifically to counter him. With a mocking tone, she said, "Bad luck for you. This device neutralizes magic, and you're a mage. You can't defeat me." But did she really think he couldn't? Seka unleashed his power and boom, shattered the machine. He stepped forward and asked, "Care to continue? Or shall we stop here?" Unable to fight on, she surrendered. Seka was declared the official winner. He climbed up to the stands where Eva and Mira were cheering for him, but Eva was clearly worried after witnessing Kyle kill his opponent. She said, "I was afraid the same thing would happen to you." Seka reassured her, "Don't worry about me. I won't lose." At that moment, Mabel entered the arena. The referee called for readiness. Her opponent was a strong earth mage armed with a magical spear. The battle began, and Mabel quickly displayed her strength, severing his spear and defeating him with ease. Later that evening, one of the tournament officials was heading to the bathhouse, carrying an important letter. A falcon swooped from the sky and snatched the letter. Seka appeared behind him and said, "What woke you up so early? Were you craving milk or what?" The man ignored him and walked silently. Then, without warning, he turned to kill Seka. But Seka reacted instantly, catching him mid-strike. "Tell me everything you know. You're a demon agent, aren't you?" The man replied, "You think I'll talk? Over my dead body." Seka smirked. "All right then, as you wish." He summoned one of his scouts, a terrifying creature capable of reading minds. Using its power, Seka uncovered the truth. The demons had sent the man to identify and assassinate the heroine. Based on the description, it seemed to be Mabel, strong, red-haired, and bearing the name of the previous heroine. Seka was stunned. He thanked his scout and said, "As a reward, eat him." The creature, Yashi, grinned, understood, and devoured the man, who was paralyzed in fear. Seka then began to contemplate his next move, weighing several possibilities, though one key piece was still missing. Meanwhile, Mabel, Seka, and Kyle continued to win their matches until the quarterfinals arrived. Kyle would now face one of them, while Mabel would be Seka's next opponent. After one of her duels, Mabel met Seka and said, "You should withdraw. I suggest you don't continue." Seka didn't understand what she meant, and she walked away. The next day, the match between Kyle and a skilled fighter began. The fighter had mastery over all elements and had cast a light spell on himself to counter Kyle's attacks and neutralize the effect of the Eye of Evil. He believed he had the upper hand until Kyle began to advance. The fighter unleashed all his spells, but none of them struck Kyle. As Kyle kept moving forward, the fighter grew terrified and released a swarm of magical charms to defend himself. But Kyle destroyed them with dark magic and, in the confusion, leapt forward. In the final moment, Kyle paralyzed him, raised his blade, and just before the killing blow, the referee blew the whistle, declaring Kyle the winner. Now, only one match remained. The winner would face Kyle in the finals. That night, as Seka prepared to sleep, he was surprised by Mabel entering his room. He joked, "What's wrong? Can't you wait until tomorrow? Why the rush?" But Mabel was furious and attacked him with speed. He dodged and countered. Someone intervened and stopped the fight, after which Mabel fled. Seka remarked, "Since she paid us a visit, it's only fair we return the favor." He dressed and went to her place. At that moment, Mabel stood silently, lost in thought about her past. Seka saw her and asked, "What's wrong? What's going on?" She was exhausted and assumed a defensive stance. He said gently, "Relax. I came to talk, nothing more." He sat by the fountain and asked, "Tell me, why did you attack me?" She replied, "We're not fighting now, are we?" He said, "That depends on your answer." She confessed, "I just wanted to injure you, so you'd lose tomorrow and I'd get to face Kyle in the finals. I'm sure that if I face you with all my strength, I won't lose. But my real power only emerges in the final match." Seka interrupted her. "You're Mira's substitute, aren't you? You entered in her place, changed your hair color, and now you fight so everyone thinks you're the heroine? Isn't that right?" Mabel was shocked. "How do you know all this?" Seka replied, "That's none of your concern." She continued, "They want us to die at Kyle's hands in the final, so everyone believes the heroine is gone. That's why the academy had sent me instead of Mira." Seka understood everything and asked, "So what's your true goal in this fight? It seems you're chasing something else entirely." Mabel, moved by his words, answered, "Yes, they want me to die at Kyle's hands, but I won't die. I will be the one to kill him." Seika asked her about the reason, and the girl began to speak. When I was a child, I had 3 friends. One of them was Kyle. One day we were taken by the capital's merchant guild, and we lived together ever since. We always looked out for each other and worked as a team in everything. But eventually, they told us that only one of us would succeed in their test. In the end, they chose Kyle. They performed a procedure on his brain that completely erased his emotions. He became a tool, nothing more than an instrument for executing orders, a weapon meant for killing. But to ensure his loyalty, they asked him to kill the 3 friends he had grown up with. And indeed, he killed 2 of them. When it was my turn, the guild decided instead to sell me to your school, so I would participate in the tournament, and Kyle would kill me in the final match. That way they would confirm he was now fully theirs and begin employing him officially, using his power as a display to the world. Seika replied, "Your story makes perfect sense, but there's just one thing I don't understand. Kyle isn't just your friend, he's your brother, so why do you want to kill him?" Mabel answered, "Before Kyle changed, he sat with me one day and said, 'If the guild changes me and I'm no longer myself, I want you to set me free.' I agreed to his request. I've already made my decision. I will fight him in the final. Whether I live or die, it doesn't matter, because I'm dead either way." Seika then stood and said, "I've changed my mind. I'll be the one to win the final." Mabel shouted, "What are you saying? Haven't you been listening to anything I've said?" Seika replied, "You will not die. No one will dare come near you." The girl screamed at him, "You don't understand anything. Even if you win, the guild will send someone to kill me. My time has already passed. I'll die just like the others before me. And even if I survive, I don't know what to do with my life." Seika responded, "You'll come back with me to the academy. No one will dare lay eyes on you as long as I'm with you." She told him, "Don't say that. You won't be able to protect me. You won't even be able to defeat me." He answered, "Then tomorrow, in our match, I'll show you who is truly stronger." The next day, the time for their battle had come. They both entered the arena, fully prepared. Mabel stepped in with her legendary weapon, determined to fight with all her might. The judge announced the start of the match, and Mabel dashed toward him with incredible speed, launching a relentless attack, giving him no room to breathe. Seika noticed her weapon was lightened by gravity magic, so he threw some stones at her and used a special plant to restrict her movements. Mabel quickly broke free from the plant and charged at him again, unaware that it was all a trap. He had anchored her weapon to the ground, rendering her immobile. He approached, disarmed her, and raised the weapon to her neck. The judges declared his victory, and he advanced to the final. As he left the arena, he told her, "Don't worry. I'll be the one to win the next match." The final battle between Seika and Kyle had begun. Ava and Mira watched the fight with deep concern. The rest of the crowd chanted Kyle's name, eagerly awaiting the outcome of this decisive match. The judge announced the start of the fight. Seika said to Kyle, "I'm sorry your sister isn't the one standing in front of you." Kyle replied coldly, "That's a problem. I have to kill her. But since she's still alive, I'll kill her later." Seika was enraged by his words and released a red mist that filled the arena. Kyle, unaware of what was happening, moved forward as Seika tried several spells on him, none of which had any effect. Suddenly, Seika summoned a beast from the realm of ash to attack Kyle. But Kyle, having lost all emotion, showed no reaction. He tried to strike the beast, but his energy had already run dry. With one crushing blow, the beast shattered his bones and sent him crashing to the ground. Seika thanked the beast and returned it to its dimension, then approached Kyle to check on him. As he got close, he saw that a curse had activated on Kyle. Terrified, Kyle tried to create a barrier to stop the curse from spreading, but his body, damaged from countless experiments, couldn't withstand it. The curse overwhelmed him. Seika stood frozen, unsure of what to do, until Kyle grabbed his arm and said, "Give a message to Mabel. Tell her I'm sorry, and pass on this sentence." Then he lost consciousness. Seika realized he wasn't dead yet. There was still time. Enraged, he unleashed a terrifying wave of energy and began casting multiple spells at once. At that moment, Yuki was watching him in shock and said, "Don't forget how you died in the previous world. If you help this person anymore, the whole world will discover who you really are, and you'll return to the life you once had." That's when Seika remembered everything from his past life. He stepped back from his intentions and let Kyle die, then hid his body in the mist. When the fog cleared, he told the judges he had killed him, leaving no trace behind. The tournament ended and he was declared the winner. He received his reward, then went to bury Kyle. There, Mabel came to him and said, "Don't trouble yourself. Don't grieve for him. My brother died the day he agreed to those experiments." Seika was moved by her words and told her the message Kyle had left. "Your brother said to me, 'I'm sorry.' About your rose pin. When she heard that, Mabel broke down in tears and said, he broke that pin the day before his operation. I guess that's exactly what he meant. Seka was deeply affected by her tears and said, let's go back to the academy. Mabel smiled and replied, okay. He took her with him, and there they met with Mira and Eva and told them everything. Mira forgave Mabel for everything and began to care for her as well. Everyone returned to the academy and all seemed well, until Seka went to the headmistress and asked her, did you know everything? The headmistress laughed and said, so you figured it out, did you? He said, yes, and now you must explain everything to me. The headmistress began to explain, the capital's merchant guild sent Mabel to me, hoping she would die in the final match. I agreed at first, to protect her and hide her. But after some time, I discovered she wanted to enter the tournament to settle her score with Kyle, and I couldn't stop her. Then I found the perfect solution, to use the ace of our academy, you, Seka, and you did exactly what I hoped, and more. You defeated the guild's fighter. I'm very proud of you. Seka was shocked and asked, how were you so sure I'd win? She answered, I've lived for over 300 years. Never underestimate my judgment. Seka was stunned by her real age, then smiled and said, all right then, goodbye, headmistress. She replied, goodbye. Afterward, peace settled, and Mabel joined the academy and became part of Seka's circle of friends. Will the world remain this calm, my friend? Absolutely not. A few days later, Seka was assigned a mission by one of the nations. This mission was originally meant for his father, but due to his father's pressing engagements, he entrusted it to Seka, believing in his son's abilities and placing his trust in him. At that time, Seka was discussing the mission with his female companions when suddenly, the prince himself entered the school. He approached Seka and said, where have you been? I've been looking for you since morning. You're coming with me to witness this mission firsthand. Seka replied, it's fine. I already know about it. In the middle of their conversation, Eva caught the prince's eye. He was instantly smitten with her beauty and, without waiting for Seka to finish his sentence, said directly to her, how can one be so beautiful? Will you marry me? Everyone was stunned, even Eva herself, but she gently declined, saying, I'm sorry, but I'm a slave owned by Seka. I cannot marry you. The prince laughed and replied, all right then, name your price. I'll buy you. Before the situation escalated, the woman accompanying the king intervened and said, this isn't the place for such talk. Let us move somewhere more appropriate. So they moved to a quieter location, and there, the prince began explaining the nature of the mission. There was once a dragon living in our nation. He would help civilians, fight alongside us in battles, and was beloved by all. But suddenly, he turned against us and began attacking the city daily. I want you, Seka, to come and investigate. Perhaps you'll find a solution. Seka answered, agreed. Then he left the place. As he exited, Mira and Mabel pulled him aside and said, do you plan to leave Eva with the prince? Be careful. She's sensitive and can't bear emotional wounds. Seka replied, don't worry, I'll handle it. A few days later, they set off toward the border of the nation. It seemed the prince was trying to get Eva to ride with him in the carriage to grow closer to her, but she refused. Upon arrival, a dragon suddenly attacked them, knocking them down instantly. One of the mercenaries used his magic to summon a volcanic tiger, which attacked the dragon and managed to drive it away. However, the tiger remained unsettled. After the dragon fled, it charged toward Eva to kill her. She stood frozen, unable to move. Seka rushed in and saved her just in time. The tiger was about to lash out again when its owner appeared and restrained it. The king was furious and shouted, are you insane? Your tiger nearly attacked our guests before they even entered the country. The mercenary replied, he was just hungry, your majesty. He hasn't eaten in days. Don't worry, I've returned him to his cage. Seka, enraged by his response, turned to the king and asked, where did you find these people? The king responded, they're a group of mercenaries I hired to slay the dragon. That's their leader, Zekt. Seka said, slay him? Why not investigate the problem first? Didn't you say the dragon used to help your people? Perhaps someone's provoking him. Zekt burst in anger and said, and what concern is that of yours? Mind your own business. Seka didn't hold back, replying, and who are you anyway? You'd better keep those little pets of yours away from me, or I won't show them mercy next time. The king intervened with great difficulty to separate them, then scolded Zekt for his behavior and ordered him to leave. He then asked Seka why he acted that way. Seka replied, I couldn't stay silent when Eva was in danger. He approached Eva and asked, why didn't you use your magic to defend yourself? She answered sadly, I was shocked. I couldn't do anything. Sika was furious and said, so if you had died or gotten hurt, your excuse would be that you were surprised? You must learn to decide in the moment. Do you think I'll always be by your side? Eva couldn't bear his words and broke into tears. The prince felt sorry for her and tried to defend her, but Sika told him, stay out of this. It's between us. He then took her away, deeply worried. He didn't want to lose her like he had lost his brother in a similar situation in his previous life. The next day, Sika and the girl began researching dragons and wrote down valuable information. Among what they found was that a similar incident occurred 150 years ago when a dragon had laid an egg and began guarding it. Its current behavior mirrored that exactly. So Sika decided to go to the mountain and see the dragon himself. Eva asked, shall I come with you? He replied, the place is too dangerous for you. I need to go alone first. She said, all right. That evening, as he was preparing to leave, he found Eva trembling in fear. He asked, what's wrong? She answered, the king summoned me to his room. I politely refused, but now I'm afraid to sleep alone. Sika was moved by her words and said, very well, come sleep here. Don't worry about a thing. She agreed, and they each slept on one side of the room. He then asked, what do you think of the prince's proposal? She misunderstood and replied, I'm sorry for my mistakes today. I promise they won't happen again. He said, that's not what I meant. I'm asking about the marriage proposal. Did you like it? She asked him, and what about you? Do you want me to accept it? He answered, it's your choice. I have no say in the matter. Angrily, she replied, fine. The next morning, Sika awoke to find her gone. He stepped outside and found the prince telling him he was heading to the mountain to see the dragon. The prince said, but the place is dangerous. You might not come back. Sika replied, don't worry about me. I'll return shortly. The prince realized that Sika's departure meant he would be alone with Eva, giving him the chance to get closer to her. So he said, all right, just be careful. Sika responded, understood. He went to say goodbye to Eva and then set off toward the mountain. In Sika's absence, the woman took the opportunity and approached Eva, saying, I want you to marry the prince. He may be young, but I promise you'll be treated better than anyone here. No one will yell at you the way Sika did yesterday. She extended her hand and added, come. Let me show you the palace. She truly took Eva with her and started showing her everything, saying, the girls here are from noble families. You'll be treated better than all of them. Then she asked, so, have you decided? Eva remained silent, her face marked with sorrow. Meanwhile, Sika had reached the mountain peak and thanked the guard who accompanied him. He then approached the dragon. As soon as the dragon saw him, it grew furious and attacked. Sika restrained it with his power and brought it back to its place. He then approached its nest and found what he had suspected all along. Yes, the dragon had laid an egg, just like before. That was why it had grown aggressive. Sika thought long and hard about how to resolve the situation until he came up with a brilliant idea. He lit a small fire near the egg to keep it warm and provide the right temperature. That way, the egg would stay safe from wild animals, and the dragon wouldn't need to guard it so closely. The dragon was deeply moved by what Sika did and approached him. And from that moment, they became friends. At that very moment, Eva was walking alongside that girl when suddenly, the king appeared, accompanied by his attendant and a marriage officiant. He intended to marry her by force. He said to her, once you sign these documents, you shall be free, and then we can marry immediately. Even if Sika is the one holding you back, this is the price of your freedom. Of course, like the others, he'll take the money. Eva was secretly waiting for Sika, and she quietly rejected the king's offer, saying, who told you I want to be freed? I don't want you. The king grew furious and ordered his guards to seize her. Eva tried to defend herself and activated her power, but that girl was stronger. She blocked Eva's attack with ease. Everyone then gathered around poor Eva, trying to force her into marrying the prince. They even wounded her hands and brought the paper for her to sign. Eva was helpless. From the depths of her heart, she called out to Sika, and suddenly, the boy heard her. He shattered the barrier the girl had created and appeared, riding that dragon, proclaiming, don't worry, everything is under control. But in truth, he didn't understand the situation. He turned to Eva and said, come with me, I'll take you on a ride atop this dragon. Come with joy. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She ran to her beloved, took his hand, and the two of them climbed onto the dragon's back. She was overflowing with happiness. He then brought her to the dragon's nest, showing her its egg. But suddenly, while they stood there, Zect activated his book and sent a tiger to attack them. Sika noticed and swiftly immobilized the beast. He said to Zect, "Are you an idiot? Can't you see the dragon is peaceful now? We were even riding on its back. You must truly be deranged." Zect replied, "I couldn't care less about the dragon. All I want is its egg. As for that foolish prince, he believed I wanted to protect the kingdom, so I played along with his simple mind." Then Zect ordered the tiger to attack and kill them. Sika was preparing to fight the beast, but suddenly everyone was caught off guard, and the tiger lunged. Now imagine, my friend, did they stand a chance? Of course not. Sika unleashed white flames, obliterating them all. He then turned to Zect and said, "I'll show you real pain now." The boy grew even more enraged and was about to use his magical book, but suddenly, Eva set it ablaze. The dragon too struck fear into Zect's followers, sending them fleeing. But to where? Sika caught Zect, and thus, they defeated them all. Afterward, Eva looked at Sika and asked, "What do you think of my performance?" The boy was amazed by her quick reaction and praised her combat skills. She was filled with joy, and truly, her beauty at that moment was radiant. They returned to the prince and recounted what had happened. The prince understood the situation and ordered his soldiers to arrest Zect and his followers. Yet his expression revealed deep disappointment. He had aspired to be the next king of the kingdom, and his plan had been to kill the dragon, earning the people's admiration and securing the crown. But alas, the dragon had committed no crime. With that, his fabricated achievement was lost. So he asked Sika to kill the dragon and continue the performance, to deceive the people. But Sika refused firmly and said, "I'm sorry, I won't do that." The prince erupted in anger and ordered the guards to arrest him, falsely accusing him of provoking the dragon to attack the city. He seemed to have gone mad. He then turned to Eva, saying, "Forget your strange master. Come with me. I'll make you a free citizen in my kingdom, and you'll live however you wish." Sika exploded in fury and shouted, "Are you insane, boy? You refuse to admit your fault, trying to frame me just to get closer to Eva? You know full well I'd never let her be with someone like you. You're worthless, and if you don't calm down, I'll crush all of you." At that moment, the girl intervened, calming everyone and saying, "Let's hear what Eva has to say first." She asked Eva for her opinion of the king. For the first time, Eva replied directly to him, "I don't want to be free, and even if I were, and you proposed to me, I'd still refuse. I could never be with someone like you." The prince was utterly humiliated. His pride was crushed completely, my friend. Then, the girl apologized to Sika for what the prince had done. She took Eva aside and asked her, "Do you love Sika?" Eva, embarrassed, responded, "Yes, I love him." The girl replied, "You should have refused from the very beginning then." She took Eva's hand and shared with her a portion of light spirits, beings of healing energy. They instantly healed her wounded hands. Eva thanked her deeply and was overflowing with happiness. They returned afterward to the academy, and everything seemed perfectly fine. But unfortunately, at that very time, a group of demonic commanders had gathered in the forest, making their way toward the Magic Academy, with one goal in mind: the annihilation of Mira and the extermination of all the students. Those four possessed terrifying powers. They could crush a person's bones in seconds. During that moment, they had cornered a powerful adventurer. They tortured him so severely he nearly wet himself from fear. They took all the information they needed from him, then headed straight for the academy to eliminate the heroine. The young man could not believe that his tamed beasts had been defeated so easily on the plains. The demon said to him, "I told you, show me the path that leads to my destination, and I shall leave you in peace." But the young man replied, "Do you expect me to trust you after you killed everyone in my village?" He summoned one of the giants who stood by his side and ordered him to attack the demon, but the demon killed him instantly. Then he approached the young man ready to finish him off, until another demon spoke. "Leave him." The demon stood under the moonlight and muttered to himself, "I must complete my mission quickly." But what was this mission, exactly? Later, when Luciel returned to his academy, he gathered with his friends. Emma informed him that her father wanted to see her. The girl was surprised by such a request, so Seika said to her, "My father was astonished when he learned that you could wield 4 magical elements. He asked to see you himself." After Sika left his friends, Yuki asked him, "Why does your father want to meet Emma?" He explained that an important guest was staying at the palace, and it was that guest who specifically asked to see her. After school ended, Sika took all his friends to his family's palace, where they were warmly welcomed by his older brother Rod. But during their conversation, their hot-tempered brother Gray entered and said to Sika, "I've been waiting for this day to fight you." Sika smiled and replied, "Welcome. How is life in the royal army treating you?" Gray answered, "Much better than I expected. But I haven't forgotten the defeat you handed me before." When Emma learned that this was the same young man who used to bully Ava, she challenged him to a sword duel. Sika told her, "If you can beat him, then I'll take him on myself." Then he thought to himself, "But Emma will win easily. She holds the power of the legendary hero." Gray asked Sika to act as the judge of the duel, and Sika agreed, deciding the battle would be without the use of magic. The fight began, and Emma launched a series of swift strikes that nearly knocked Gray to the ground. But he tricked her. He pulled out his magic staff and landed a heavy blow, throwing her to the ground. She shouted, "We agreed not to use magic." He sneered, "I didn't use magic. I merely deceived you." She yelled, "Face me again." But he refused. Instead, he turned to Sika and said, "Prepare yourself, teacher. Your turn is coming, and this time, I won't lose." Suddenly, a young girl appeared and said to Gray, "There's no need for you to fight Sika." To everyone's surprise, Gray obeyed her words immediately, leaving Sika stunned. How could Gray yield so easily to her? Gray then told Sika's friends that this girl was none other than Princess Fiona, the sacred princess of their kingdom. When everyone realized she was the princess, they were utterly shocked. The princess sat with them and told Emma that she had wished to meet her. In her thoughts, she mused, "This girl's traits are strikingly similar to the heroine my mother, the high priestess, once told me about before she died." The princess informed them that she would be staying at the palace for a few days and wanted to observe their skills during her stay. Everyone agreed enthusiastically. After the princess left, Emma asked Sika, "Did you know we would meet someone important like Princess Fiona?" When he confirmed it, she grew upset with him. That evening, the princess joined Sika and his friends for dinner. She said to him, "Your father told me you've just returned from a dangerous mission." Sika told her all about it, including how he befriended a dragon that flew him across the skies. Later, his father asked how things were going at the Magic Academy. Sika replied, "Everything is going well. I'm learning something new every day." After dinner, he returned to his room and spoke with Yuki, who confessed that she didn't like the princess from the very first meeting. Sika told her, "Princess Fiona resembles my wife from my past life." Before she could ask more, Emma suddenly entered the room. Sika told her, "You should have knocked before coming in." But she playfully replied, "Oh, stop it." Then he asked, "What do you plan to do after graduation?" She said, "I want to become an adventurer." Due to all the attention they were drawing, Gray said, "It's time to head back to the palace." The princess seemed saddened by their early return, so Sika gave her a scarf he had made himself. He then used his magic to create a mirror so she could see how it looked. She loved the gift deeply, and her smile never left her face. That night, at Lamborg Palace, Gray was intensely training with a wooden sword when Sika approached him and asked, "I want to know more about Princess Fiona." Gray replied, "The princess possesses magic that allows her to see the future. She plans every step before it even happens. Even the wooden planks that nearly fell on her this morning, she knew they would fall at that exact moment." He added, "She's the strongest candidate to rule the empire in the future." The next morning, Princess Fiona was searching for Sika, hoping to go out with him, but he was deliberately avoiding her and spending time with Yuki instead. Later, he met up with Emma and asked what she'd been doing. She said she was training with Gray, but still couldn't beat him. Then she added, "The princess has been looking for you. Looks like you're avoiding her." Sika admitted he was doing it on purpose. She told him, "The princess is leaving the palace tomorrow. It won't hurt if you just talk to her a little." Sika agreed and went to find the princess. When she saw him, she invited him to play chess. He accepted, but she added a condition. The loser must obey any request made by the winner. The game began, and the princess clearly outmatched him. Realizing he had no chance of winning, Sika surrendered. They spoke together, and the princess told him that she wished to use her ability to see the future to protect people. Sika was moved by the nobility of her goal and promised to support her with his strength. The princess was overjoyed and said she would claim her favor from him later, since she had won. Elsewhere, a gruesome scene unfolded. A group of savagely slaughtered human corpses lay sprawled across the land. The culprits were none other than the demons we had seen before. Their leader ordered them to eat and rest, in preparation for their next mission. The next morning, Princess Fiona was preparing to leave the palace, accompanied by Seika and his friends on their way to the royal capital. Rod shook hands with his brother Gray and informed everyone that Gray would be the princess's personal bodyguard. He would go wherever she went. Along the journey, as Seika spoke with his brother and Princess Fiona, they were ambushed by a group of bandits. Their leader ordered his men to attack the carriage carrying the princess, but Seika stood atop the roof and deflected the arrows aimed at her. Seeing Seika's power, the bandit leader commanded his men to kill him immediately, but Seika repelled every strike with ease. Gray jumped out of the carriage and ordered the soldiers to confront the bandits. A fierce battle erupted between the two sides. Meanwhile, the princess asked Seika to capture the bandits alive. She wished to interrogate them. And indeed, Seika used his magical plants to capture all the bandits, including their leader. After completing the task, he turned to his friends and asked why they hadn't helped during the fight. They explained that they had been in a deep sleep and were unaware of the attack altogether. It was then that Gray informed him that the princess wished to speak with him. Seika spoke with Princess Fiona, who sincerely thanked him for standing up against the bandits. She informed him that they would be taken to the royal capital for punishment. Shortly after, the carriages arrived at the capital. There, Princess Fiona bid farewell to Seika and his friends, telling him that if he ever encountered trouble in the future, he should reach out to her. Then, she departed. Meanwhile, the demons were advancing through the night, step by step, toward the royal capital, aiming to assassinate the hero, and then retreat to live in peace with the other demons for an entire year, as instructed by their leader. After Seika returned to the academy, the headmistress summoned him and offered him the position of student council president. He told her he would consider it, then left her office. At that moment, Yuki told him that accepting the position would make others more aware of his strength, but he reassured her that he still intended to keep his true power hidden. Seika remembered how people in his previous life had always avoided him, how he had no friends, unlike now, where he was surrounded by companions who genuinely valued him. That made him truly happy. But outside the capital's walls, a group of demons had already arrived. Their leader instructed them to use magic first to eliminate the students. If anyone had to fight the hero, they were to send a signal immediately for reinforcements. They began executing their plan using a magic circle to infiltrate the capital. However, each one of them appeared in a different location, and thick fog cloaked the entire city. One of the demons spotted some students, and upon attacking them, realized they were mere illusions. The same happened with the rabbit demon and the girl accompanying him. No one understood what was going on. Then we shift to the red ghoul, who was suddenly confronted by Mabel, appearing out of nowhere. She demanded to know who he was, but he remained silent. A battle ensued. He leapt into the air and attacked her with his weapon, but she caught it using her threads. Yet the ghoul broke free and began laughing maniacally, proclaiming that his body was resistant to magic. When he attacked again, Mabel vanished, replaced by a magical paper talisman from Seika. The ghoul returned to the demon commander and reported, along with the others, that every time they attacked someone, those strange papers would appear instead. The commander sensed something was amiss and ordered a retreat, but suddenly, Seika appeared, singing, in a marvelous mood. The demons were stunned by his presence, and before the ghoul could finish his sentence, Seika said, "I'll deal with you," and the ghoul's head flew off his body. Seika had torn the magical paper, and at that exact moment, the ghoul's head was severed. Terror swept through the demons. A girl with the evil eye, similar to Kairo's and Mabel's, charged at him, but Seika mocked her and summoned Bon. The moment Bon looked at her, her heart stopped, and she collapsed. The rabbit demon, enraged by his friend's death, summoned his beast, being a tamer himself. But Seika's snake merely glanced at the creature, and its heart stopped immediately. The rabbit demon emerged from behind the snake, thinking he could tame it. He told Seika he could tame any beast just by speaking to it, but the snake instantly attacked him. Seika returned the snake to its sealing gate. The demon commander was terrified of Seika's power. One of his subordinates offered to fight in his place and told him to escape, but the commander refused. Instead, he ordered the subordinate to flee while he handled the situation. The subordinate wondered who this unbelievably powerful person could be. The commander used the magic eye to uncover Seika's identity and told his subordinate, "This youth must be the demon king, but now he protects the humans." Of course, Seika wasn't the demon king, but his immense strength led his enemies to believe otherwise. Seika simply said, "Enough, it's over." The commander tried to block his strike but was completely vaporized. The subordinate escaped using teleportation magic, confused by the thought of the demon king siding with humans. But suddenly, a deep wound appeared across his chest, and he died on the spot. Sika had stabbed one of his magical papers, transferring the damage directly to the fleeing subordinate. Yuki later told Sika she feared him when he used his power, but he gently assured her, "Don't worry." As they spoke, Mabel arrived, saying she had fought a ghoul who almost killed her, but suddenly she found herself in a different place, completely unharmed. Sika told her he had saved her. When she asked where the ghoul was, wanting revenge, he told her he had already taken care of it, and asked her not to tell anyone what had happened. Later, Sika discussed with his friends the speech he was going to give to the new students. It was then revealed that he had accepted the position offered by the headmistress. Suddenly, the Emperor's guards entered and asked for Emma. She replied, "What do you want from me?" The commander declared that she was accused of killing an envoy from the demons who had been on his way to the academy and ordered his men to arrest her. No one understood what was happening, not even Sika. Still, the guards seized Emma. Sika told her he would get her out as soon as possible. The guards moved to attack him, but their commander ordered them to leave immediately, stating there was no time to argue with children. The next day, Sika was speaking with the headmistress. She said she was doing everything she could to free Emma, but feared that the politicians wanted her gone, despite the fact she was the hero. She asked Sika not to interfere. He replied, "Do you expect me to stand by and do nothing?" Then apologized and left. Outside, Eva and Mabel asked what he would do. He told them they would do nothing because the headmistress had promised to try and prove Emma's innocence. But that night, Sika summoned his dragon. Though the beast tried to flee again, this time Sika successfully tamed it. When Yuki found out he was planning to rescue Emma, she asked why he would reveal his strength now. Hadn't he sworn to keep it hidden? Sika grew angry and told her, "Don't interfere. Anyone who witnesses my true power won't live to speak of it." He mounted the dragon and ordered it, "Move, now." In her cell, Emma was thinking about her friends and wondering if they were worried about her. Meanwhile, Sika had released his magical papers into the city. They transformed into tiny rats to search for Emma, and one of them succeeded in finding her. Sika descended and returned the dragon to the ceiling gate. But one of the guards spotted him and blew the alarm whistle. The soldiers aimed their arrows at him, but he dodged them using his magic control and destroyed their position. As he neared the prison walls, he faced a large number of soldiers. He told them, "If you swear loyalty to me, I won't harm you." Still, they fired flaming arrows at him. He dodged them again, his rage flared. He retaliated and burned several of them. But it didn't end there. He summoned one of his sealed beasts, which turned the area into a massacre. The soldiers were terrified, but some still attacked. He and his beast slaughtered them without mercy. Once he had eliminated everyone, he reached Emma's cell and melted the iron restraints holding her. She cried, "What are you doing here? You'll be imprisoned for this." But he told her she had to return with him. When she objected, he revealed the truth she had never known. She was the legendary hero who appears once every era. And the politicians wanted her dead because the weak always fear the strong. Even if she was the hero, they would never stop trying to kill her. While everyone was talking, Sika suddenly sensed someone approaching them, then was caught off guard by a sudden attack. But that person blocked Sika's strike. It was Gray, his brother. Gray shouted at him, "Who are you? You can't be my brother." At that moment, Princess Fiona arrived and said to Sika, "We did not come here to fight you." Sika responded sharply, "You already knew everything that would happen thanks to your ability to see the future, yet you did not try to rescue Emma from prison. This means you also want to get rid of her." Fiona replied, "The demons made a pact with us. They would not wage war against us again, but on one condition, that the heroine dies. For years, they have sought to eliminate Emma to avoid war. The presence of a heroine in this world means an endless war," Sika said firmly. "What you say is no sufficient justification. You could have left Emma alone without killing her." Fiona said, "Even if I had left her, she would never have become as powerful as the first hero who appeared in this world. That is because you were by her side, bearing all the dangers for her. A true hero gains power only by overcoming hardships alone." Then she added with a sad smile, "Remember when we played chess and agreed that the loser would grant the winner one wish? Back then, I did not ask you for anything, but now I ask you to leave immediately. I promise I will never harm Emma." Sika looked at her skeptically and said, "I do not trust your words." Princess Fiona was pained by his words, but composed herself and said, "You may take Emma and leave. I will order the guards to stand down." Indeed, she commanded the guards to withdraw. then accompanied Ima and Sika outside, having prepared a carriage for their travel, saying, "I have arranged a place for you to live, far from the kingdom." Before departing, Fiona bid farewell to the heroine Ima and wished her success in her future life. Seeing her noble stance, Sika used his magical spell to revive the soldiers who had been killed. The princess was immensely pleased and thanked him gratefully. Finally, Sika took the heroine Ima and they rode in the carriage leaving the kingdom. The two agreed to live the remainder of their days in a new adventure as friends. In the new city, Eva and Mabel had come looking for them, and eventually they reunited. Thus, my friend, the first season of this story ends here. If you want a second season, let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in a new summary. Farewell.